I'd like to call the May 19th session of the Johnston County Board of Commissioners to order and welcome you all here tonight. Good to see you here, for those of you in person, and for those watching on YouTube, good to have you with us as well. Wanted to, before we get started, first we have elected official here from Smithfield, Marlon Lee. Wanted to recognize him. Marlon, thank you for coming and spending time with us again. I know you're on our frequent visitor plan, so always good to see you here. Also want to mention our 6 board priorities. As you saw in the video, if you were looking at it, educational funding, infrastructure, financial stewardship, land use, public safety, and our county employees. And you definitely will hear all of those mentioned tonight, particularly in the manager's budget presentation tonight. So all of these items will be addressed in some way in our meeting tonight. With that, we will move on with the agenda. We will have an invocation and a pledge. I've asked Commissioner Rose to lead us in the invocation and Commissioner Godwin to lead us in the pledge. So if you choose, so stand right now for the invocation and then stand for the pledge.
Lord, we gather today with a heart for our community. Grant us wisdom, guidance, and peace as we deliberate on matters before us. May our decisions reflect your values and serve the best interests of the people we serve. Help us to work together in unity and to reflect your love in all we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Who would please face the flag and join me in the pledge? Any veterans present arms? I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you would be seated, I did forget to mention, even though we have an empty chair, we have a commissioner who is with us from, if you're an old wrestling fan, you remember Parts Unknown, but April Stevens is with us tonight virtually. So April, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I will try to remember when we vote on something to wait for that delay. And if y'all will remind me here to do that as well. So with that, we will move on to approval of the agenda. Y'all have the agenda in front of you. Any changes to that agenda?
Mr. Chair, I'll move that we approve the agenda as presented.
I second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All right, any opposed? The agenda is approved. Then we have the consent agenda. We have 4 items on that, which the first one is approval of our April 21st, 2025 meeting. We have 2 additions to the NCDOT system. We also have a request from Johnston County Building and Grounds for some hardware and software for the lobby here in the courthouse to provide more information to the folks coming in and out of here, and that is through a grant program. And then we have a couple of budget revisions for the health department and also for the sheriff's department. Any need to withdraw those or move those to another, to the for additional comment?
Mr. Chairman, I move the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? The consent agenda is approved. All right, this brings us to public comments. So if there's anyone here wishing to address the board on an item that is not on the agenda, if you would come forward and state your name and your town or township that you are from, and just remember to keep it to 3 minutes, and we'll all be cordial to each other. And also just a reminder, as much to the board as it is to the folks coming to speak, that this is a time for the board to listen and not engage in debate each other. So with that, I will turn it over to you.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Crystal Britton, and I live in Selma. And I know I've talked to you guys before, so good to see you again. I'm here with Down Home, North Carolina, and Down Home, North Carolina is a Johnston County chapter that has been here for 3 years, and I've been involved for now going on 5 months. And for those of you that don't know, everyone is welcome in Down Home, and we are a member-led organization right here in Johnston County. We are building multiracial power with poor and working people, and we want all races and backgrounds to have a seat at the table where decisions are being made. This past Saturday, we had our Really Free Market in Main Street Garden in downtown Clayton, and it was another successful event where people brought their free items, and everything was either free that you could take or give. We also had speakers, music, and food, and it was a great time to socialize, learn more about what Down Home is trying to do in the community, and enjoy what Johnston County has to offer. What we're also doing by hosting these events are asking people in the community who attend to do a survey. And by asking them to do this survey, we are asking them what some of their concerns are in the community. This helps us to decide what our next campaign should be, like the one we are currently trying to work on with you by implementing double bucks into farmers markets and possibly farms in Johnston County. What we learned about was food insecurity being the leading problem here in Johnston County thanks to these surveys. Did you know that 1 out of 5 children in North Carolina do not know where their next meal will be coming from? North Carolina ranks 10th in the U.S. food insecurity, the state being without reliable access to a sufficient quality of affordable, nutritious food as of 2021. I would like to ask each of you this evening to take the time to fill out one of our surveys that we give to the community. And when we can pick those up the next time we do our meeting to discuss the steps moving forward in our campaign. And we'll send you guys the email for that follow-up, and hopefully we can get that scheduled within the next week or two. We also have been busy with doing a farm survey at farmers markets, farms, and meeting with different places in the community, and going around in the communities in Johnston County with our surveys. By doing this, we learned that we need to move our Really Free Market to a different area. So we heard the need, and we will be moving to a new location next month, Saturday, June 21st, from 10 to 12, and we'll be in Kenley at 410 South College Avenue. We'll also be doing an event on Sunday, June 8th in Benson at the Singing Grove to talk more about our Double Bucks campaign. It's going to be the Double Bucks Dance Party. And don't forget that we have our monthly meetings the last Thursday of every month from 6:30 to 8:30. And it's at the River Oaks Commons at 1101 River Road in Selma. So thank you for listening. I did bring the surveys and just some more information about where our events will be.
Okay.
So,
If you will leave that with our deputy
All right.
clerk there.
thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Britton. All right. Anyone else wishing to speak? Mr. Saunders, how are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm Kevin Saunders, and I'm starting up the Watchdogs of Johnston County. It's an organization that's getting ready to get on the way where voters, taxpayers, and just concerned citizens have issues with the local government where they feel they're not being heard, and they have issues that they feel that might be coming up short on being addressed. So my contact information is kgsaunders23@gmail.com. My name is Kevin Saunders, and you can also reach me at 919-333-5196. It's issues going on that, you feel that you need help with, and maybe we could sit down and come together and get petitions or anything like that done. And if you feel like some of the codes of Johnston County is out of date and need to be updated and changed to help your quality of living where you might be going through something, feel free to give me a call. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Saunders. All right. Anyone else wishing to speak? All right. And we did not have any emails for this meeting to read for public comment. All right. So we will now move on to the public hearing for some proposed road changes. I will go ahead and open the public hearing on that, and then I'll ask Braxton Newton, our planning director, to come forward and present this information to us.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Staff did request public hearing in regards to some road name changes. These are associated with roads that are service roads that were either created or roads being extended in the Wilson's Mills area. And these were due to the interstate, the improvements to US 70 to bring it to interstate status. So essentially what that does is bring in interstate status. It eliminates any immediate access, or it controls access to the interstate from individual properties, directs them to interchanges now. So with that, what it did cut off some properties, and in the process, DOT created some new right-of-ways to access these properties, and in doing so, some of these require names. So with that, I would ask if the deputy clerk could bring up the two maps, not map, please, but the other, yes, ma'am. So you will see here, these are the first two. These are the westerly portion of Wilson's Mills on screen. They're on the north side of 70. They're on the north side of 70. You can see this road is actually an extension of what is currently Wilson's Mills Road. Gordon Road, as it existed, used to flow right in with no stop to Wilson's Mills Road. That is now a T intersection with the stop on Gordon Road. And there are addresses now being served that will be served by this extension here. Additionally, in this area, you will see Sadisco Road ended here, and this has been extended all the way down to Swift Creek Road, with stops along the way at Strickland. So with that extension, there are some addresses that need changing there as well, but this is the most obvious, and what we're proposing here is to just extend Sadisco Road, that name, down to Swift Creek Road. And this eliminates about a dozen businesses and addresses up here from being having to go through that change of address as well. And we'll move down to the eastern, more easterly portion of Wilson's Mills to that map. That's it. And these are the impacts on this portion. As you can see in Wilson's Mills, from Wilson's Mills Road, there was a new service road created to access properties along this route, and it actually terminates there at the NCDOT County Maintenance Yard. On the north side, Wilson's Mills Road, and this map doesn't show it correctly, but it's Wilson's Mills Road extension, actually becomes a free-flowing road as it follows that purple line with no stop to this point here where it's been bisected, or where Talton Farm Road has been abandoned here from the railroad to this point where the red line ends. Talton Farm Road here is now the stop, and that's why this is free-flowing. The proposal there is to just continue this as Wilson's Mills Road extension. And the last one is this blue-colored line here, which is in the town of this is actually in the town of Wilson's Mills, jurisdiction or corporate limits. They are proposing a name of company in Wrench Road. It only serves a singular business here. So with that, in accordance with General Statute 153A 239.1, those roads in county jurisdiction, not in the municipal limits or corporate limits of a town or city, does require that the County Board of Commissioners places a name on these roads by ordinance. A part of this is a public hearing. It was duly advertised. There were also we did send out, this is a little bit different, but we did send out individual notices of the public hearing and potential name change or address change as well to all those properties and residents and businesses alike that might be affected by this, just as an added safeguard. We know they have a particular interest in this. So with that being said, this evening, once the public hearing is conducted, you have a couple of different choices. You can go ahead and decide this evening on names for these roads, or you can take the comments from public hearing under advisement and take that matter up at a later date of your choosing. Doing so either way, we will bring a ordinance back before you for simple either consent agenda or on a regular agenda without any public hearing for your consideration to officially adopt those road names. Once that ordinance is adopted, We will then forward those road names to the proper authorities, in this case being DOT, the Postal Service as well, and other utility providers in our area, just to ensure that they have those correct road names and correct addresses. I'm glad to answer any questions you may have at this time.
Any questions from
I
Mr.
have a
Newcomb?
question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Preston, you mentioned the little short blue line there to the northwest of 70. You said it's within the town of Wilson Mills. Do we have the responsibility and the authority to designate that road, or is that the town?
We will not, that will be the town. Since we do bear responsibility for a portion of the purple here, we have talked with Wilson's Mills, and that this is not a concern, but this solely lies in their jurisdiction, so they would have to bear that responsibility in accordance with
And
state.
one other quick question. That part of Sadisco Road you said had existing addresses. What about the rest of them down there? Were they Highway 70 addresses?
The majority, or some of them, if we can go back to that map, there were some Highway 70, so here, there were some Highway 70 addresses here, and then there was at some point on the map, there is a Meta, I think it's called a Meta Drive, and that Meta Drive also exists down this private access easement here. This will remain, so that doesn't need to change.
If it does become Sadisco all the way through, would their numbers still stay the same?
Their numbers most likely will change just because of the way the range is currently. So we would start, Sadisco Road was begun, the ranges started here, and they travel through to this point with the auto auction here being the final address on that stretch. So most likely, these will have to change, unfortunately.
Have we had enough feedback from 911 people to know that whatever we decide tonight is okay with them as far as the...
Yes, sir. I think we're fine from that perspective, from both from 911 and vetting those through our internal databases.
Right, good.
But once again, it's purview of this board. All you're doing tonight, if you so choose, is to have this public hearing, and you can bring this matter back for consideration at a later time.
All right, any other questions? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak on this, if you would come forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
Bentley Powell, Wilson Mills Fire Chief, live in Smithfield. Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. The big part of it is, and I've been working with 911 and the planning department, and they have been gracious. If everybody understands what has happened is our Highway 70 has become an interstate. Okay, that put up concrete walls, but they still have a Highway 70 address. My concern is to go ahead and get it done as quick as possible, because for my fire department, we know that. We know we now have to access it from a service road. My concern is from either EMS standpoint or law, if they call a signal 25, that law enforcement agents coming from other places are not going to know how to get there. If they look at if they're looking at GPS, it's going to take them to Highway 70 right in front of it, but it's going to be a concrete wall. So Morgan has been gracious, and Braston is just trying. My concern, I've still got to work with the town of Wilson Mills, is you realize Sadisco Road is what it is. Sadisco doesn't exist anymore. My concern in naming roads after businesses move on. I have Wise Road right in front of my third fire station, and Wise now is across the road. So it creates confusion. So generic names seem better. Now, like Sadisco Road, it's an extension of, it'll work. But unfortunately, like I said, Sadisco doesn't exist anymore. It's a different business. So the big thing I'm trying to look at from the standpoint is it's a huge expense to citizens and businesses to change addresses. And so if we hit this out of the park and get it right the first time, we won't be back here a year from now trying to address it. But I think we got to do something. And like I said, I'll continue to work with Wilson Mills on the company wrench one. But keeping in mind, and me and Commissioner Harris has had this conversation, on the other end of the map where the company wrench area is in Taunton Farm, we're fixing to put one of the largest high schools in this county back there. And these roads are going to be part of the entrance and exit to that school. So we need to get it right. So with that, any questions for me? If not, thank you. And like I said, I'm good with anything. We just need to get some addresses on it so we make sure we can get to these people on time.
Chief, I don't think you gave us the address for the record.
For the
You
record.
gave it Smithfield.
Yeah, well, the station's,
Yep,
you want
that's good.
station address?
That's
It'd be
good.
2550 Cleveland Road,
All right.
Smithfield.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
y'all.
Thank you, Chief.
All right. Anyone else?
Just to echo what,
Come on up to the microphone, young man.
just to echo what Chief Powell said, it is a safety concern, obviously from our standpoint. Right now, currently, if we receive a call on one of these unnamed roads, they get sent to Highway 70. So, and it can cause some confusion if it's a unfamiliar EMS unit or a law enforcement entity coming from outside of their normal jurisdiction. So that's a
All right.
question for me.
Any questions for Mr. Harris? All right. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak on this matter? All right. I will close the public hearing and turn it over to the board for their discussion, motion,
Hold on.
deliberation. Oh,
We got a couple.
oh,
I wanted to request a name for one of them roads on there. Is that time good now?
so yes, sir. So I will open back up the public hearing.
He
Now's
didn't
the
realize
time.
he was public.
And if you would, just state your name and address for us before you get started.
I'm Charlie Edwards. I live at 3201 US Highway 70 West.
All right.
The road that goes from Wilkesville Road to the state maintenance yard, I live on that road. And I was suggesting the name of Jack Edwards Highway, or Jack Edwards Road, because that was my father. 3 of his children live on that road. We're all 3 here. Plus, he's got a grandchild and a great-grandchild lives on the road.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to.
Can you flip to that? Yeah, we got the other one.
Yes,
So that's the one in the red?
on the left
Real
side.
one.
that
Goes from
bottom.
Wilkesville Road to the state maintenance yard.
Okay.
Yeah, we're at dead ends right
And it's right now Captain,
Captain
is
Drive,
that
is that
correct?
the one?
Captain Drive? Okay.
Right now, it just goes, Highway 70 West is my address. It's been that ever since it was 4 lane.
So any objections to that change from Braston, Mr. Harris?
We would have to vet it, but provided it's a valid name in our database, we can certainly do that. Just
Yeah, tell me the
for
cautionary
clarification, Captain
tale.
Drive was proposed by officials over at the town of Wilson's Mills, so
Okay.
we're not fixed, it's just proposed name by Wilson's Mills. We attempt to give to give courtesy to the local jurisdiction, having jurisdiction there in terms of planning and zoning and other matters, so we defer to them on proposed names in a couple of situations,
Okay.
and that and Company Ridge were the
Well,
two that came
we're not in the city limit there, on that side.
Did DOT have a recommendation, Braston?
No, sir. By statute, it's solely up to the
Okay.
county. We just have to, it has to go back to DOT and then ultimately has to be approved, but unless there's some other conflict, it very rarely do they deny it.
Could you explain to us the vetting process? For example, if we use this gentleman's name, what would you have to do to make sure that it would be okay?
So we'll reconcile that name in our addressing database, just to ensure that it's not a duplicate or it's similar or sounds like some other name that could be
Yeah.
confused when they're dispatching from 911. We want to ensure that it's clear and it's concise. And we do have situations in the county where you may have you could have like a Lee Road and a Lee Drive. Well, Lee Road is out in rural area of the county, and then Lee Drive is in a municipality, and there's a good distance apart. So that's a little bit different, but it's still not ideal. But as long as we don't have any issue there, we tend to leave those, and those are historical names. But we do try to keep from having those similar sounds like or any identical names, regardless of whether they're in the municipality or in the unincorporated area.
So how many residents are on that bit? I mean, I guess you got the jail down there, but what else would be on that road?
On that road,
Or I'm sorry, it doesn't go to the jail, it goes to the
it goes to the
maintenance
maintenance yard.
yard. Yeah, maintenance yard.
Including the maintenance yard, there's roughly, I can't recall because we've got 2 that are really close. So it's gonna be about 9 to 11 addresses, I think, that may be impacted because there's a few served by easements or farm paths
Okay.
off of the road.
Okay. And they're changing anyway.
They're changing anyway.
Okay.
Just because of the ranges they're gonna have to change anyway.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand. So the captain, now let me back up. This falls in the county's responsibility to name this road. This is
It
not a
does.
town. So, but the town of Wilson's Mills showed interest in it being Captain Drive.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so-
And we have no idea why they hadn't given us that
Okay,
information. But
okay.
once again, it's the purview of this board. It is best, and I agree with the chief, with the fire chief that was just up. I do agree that with businesses, it's a little bit dicey because businesses do move and relocate. It is good to try to name roads as best you can where it's keeping with some, some tie to that community if possible.
Right.
And that's certainly an option here, I think, if we can determine what that may be. We're some options there.
All right, any other questions?
I was wondering if we could hear a little bit about your dad and,
Well, our family has been on that road since, I think 48 or 49, 1948 or 1949.
That's awesome.
I like Mr. Charlie's suggestion myself.
Yep, I do. All right, thank you,
Yeah.
Mr. Edwards. Yeah.
Jack Edwards.
So what was the proposed name?
What was the
Jack
proposed?
Edwards.
Jack
Jack
Edwards.
Edwards.
Edwards Road,
Edwards Road.
Jack Edwards.
Jack Edwards.
If it gets down to initials, yeah, so I just want, if that some reason is already taken for some reason or close.
Well, you could put Jackson Edwards, it was his middle name, Jackson. Everybody called him Jack.
Okay, all right. All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, anyone else that wants another opportunity? There we go. State your name and address, please.
Good evening. Good evening.
Oh, he brought the
Thank you.
voice too. There, yeah.
Yeah.
I was hoping that would enhance my presentation.
I think it's working so far.
Thank you. Thank you for entertaining proposals for name changes. I am Bishop Michael Roseborough. I'm representing Greater Vision Worship Center that's located on the service road that connects, ends or terminates with DOT. We were formerly located on 2nd Avenue in Smithfield, but recently relocated. And we're proposing a change to that service road, Greater Vision Worship Center, or some similar name, because we feel that the church represents a vital part in the community, providing significant support, outreach, stands as a prominent and easily recognizable landmark. And by the way, we don't intend on moving. Amen. In terms of community impact, the church has served the community through outreach, education, social programs, and I believe that naming this street or this road after it recognizes the contributions that have been made. We have worked so much in the community, GED programs, back-to-school giveaways, feeding the homeless community, food drives. We have partnered with Parks and Rec and the Smithfield Police and Fire Department to provide safe outlets for Halloween, Thanksgiving giveaways, gang awareness seminars, children, youth ministries initiatives to reach at-risk youth, youth leadership development, weekly sessions on leadership. We have conducted Christmas toy giveaways. We have served as a liaison for community resources. And some of our leaders, in fact, have served as mentors for at-risk youth, providing much-needed help in the community. And we do feel like because of the prominence of Greater Vision Worship Center, I think it would really be a tribute, if you will, to their significance, their contributions that the church has made in the communities for a number of years. The church was initially established on August the 9th, 1964. So again, I say we're not going anywhere. So thank you for entertaining these suggestions. Thank you for the forum, the opportunity to propose name changes. Thank you.
All right, any questions for the bishop? Any questions for, this is the same captain, what is currently Captain, okay. How long have you been at this location?
We've been there.
This your church?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. We were there just prior to COVID.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions? And your
We-
address?
Having a member that lives on that road.
Yeah, hold on, Mr. Edwards. So, any other questions?
Is the,
We've, we've got several members here. In fact, can I have them stand?
Yeah, sure, if you want to have your members stand, that would be. Okay.
Amen.
is there an exact proposed name? You kind of give
We
a,
were thinking Greater Vision Road, Greater Vision Way, or something, some derivative of Greater Vision.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Oh, and your address, and if you, the church address would be.
The church is 3245 Highway 70.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, anyone else wishing to speak? And again, name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Monte Bryant. I'm representing Greater Vision at 3245 US Highway 70 West. I just want to add on to what Bishop Roseborough shared. We purchased this property 20 years ago, and we own 33 acres of the land, and we have a goal of creating after-school programming, creating housing for domestic violence victims, et cetera. So it's not just a church, but it's a community initiative to kind of bring some value to our community. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, anyone else? All right, I will once again close the public hearing and turn it over to the board for their discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I think that the interest of moving forward swiftly with the road name changes because of public safety is truly the issue at hand. But I do think that that one particular road that was proposed to be Captain Drive with the different name proposals, I think they need some time to vet that properly. So to make sure that, there's no duplication or whatever, and just to make sure that we're doing the right thing. So if it pleases the board, I would make a motion to approve the names of the newly created service roads and extension of the existing roads with the exception of that one particular road. And we'll take that one under advisement to give planning an opportunity to vet and 911 and the folks to vet those names.
Does your motion include specific names?
The names proposed that Braston has proposed to us here.
So you'd have Sadisco,
Yeah,
Wilson Mills Road Extension,
And then Wilson's Mills Road.
And
which is
Wilson,
the northerly, westerly, northwest end.
okay.
Yes, sir.
And then staff will investigate the options presented here tonight.
For the what was proposed as Captain Drive, we also have some interim, we can do an interim name just for emergency service.
Okay, and is that something we could get back at our first meeting in?
Absolutely.
In June? Okay.
Absolutely.
And then we can take action? Okay.
I would second his motion.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay?
wait for it.
Oh, sorry. Commissioner Stevens?
Aye.
Aye, thank
Very
you. All right, any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have a proclamation for summer learning for the partnership with Children of Johnston County. And we have asked Commissioner Davis to read that proclamation.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to interject real quick. I saw a few confused looks on faces. I just wanted to make everybody sure that everybody know that, like, the next meeting is only 2 weeks away. So that's when we'll be making a decision. So it looked as though I didn't want them to think we'd kick the can down the road. We'll be making a decision very quickly.
Yes, in 2 weeks. Sorry for that confusion, and thank you for clarifying that. So, all right, we'll let the room clear here for a second.
It's just a shift change.
Yeah.
Was someone going to help present before I did the proclamation?
Yeah, Heather went.
I don't know if you want me to do it before or after. Give me.
Yeah, after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, good
Hi.
evening. Thank you for having us. My name is Janelle Stevenson. I am actually co-chair of the Reach Grow Committee and Partnership for Children. And we are asking for you guys to proclaim the National Summer Learning Week, July 14th through 19th this year. It's celebrated and dedicated to advocacy and awareness. It's aimed at elevating the importance of keeping kids learning, keeping them safe and healthy every summer. We want to ensure that they return to school in the fall still ready to succeed for the year. We know that every child deserves an amazing summer. We want to nurture and cultivate a child's natural brilliance and curiosity. We've seen so many positive ripple effects throughout every area of their life, and our goal is to continue that through the summer. And we want to do that by casting a spotlight on summer learning loss, galvanizing parents, educators, legislators, and community organizers to embrace the power of summer learning. We have created a space for greater achievement and potential for all children. Read to Grow JoCo is working to ensure all of Johnston County's students, regardless of background, income, zip code, whatever the differences are, that they can access and benefit from a high-quality summer learning experience every year. We actually have a lot of programs that are happening this summer that we're really excited about. Last year, we were able to bring the summer literacy infusion, and we're able to do it again this year, and we're having more sites. We have 5 sites across the county this year, and the goal of it is to really have intensive classes just to work on literacy. We are going to have them at the Boys and Girls Club in Selma, Wilson Mills Arc Child Care, the Summer Feeding Program in Smithfield, and 2 of the Triangle East YMCA sites in Clayton. And we're actually anticipating almost 300 students to be able to participate. Last year, we saw 74% of the students that participated either maintained or increased their reading scores. We have, for that week, the Summer Learning Week, we have our Pause for Reading events, which a lot of the children love to do. We give the children an opportunity to adopt a stuffed animal. They get to name it, and then they sign an agreement that they are going to read to that animal for 20 minutes a day to help continue their reading through the summer. And their parents are usually there too, so they are making that known to their parents as well. This is actually the 4th year that we've been doing that, and the kids really enjoy it. We also have partnered with the North Carolina Museum of Science, and they have brought opportunities for Meet the Animals to our students. We have 2 locations in Smithfield this year. And it's our hope to convince, connect, and equip providers, education leaders, families, and communities to deliver high-quality summer learning opportunities to our county's children and the youth, and to help close the achievement gap and support healthy development. We are asking that you declare July 14th through 19th Summer Learning Week, and we always appreciate all of your support through for the Partnership for Children of Johnston County.
All right. Thank you. And Commissioner Davis will read that proclamation for us.
Okay. Proclamation for Summer Learning Week 2025. Whereas Summer Learning Week is a time to recognize the importance of summer learning that provides students with opportunities to build academic skills, engage in new experiences, and form strong relationships. And whereas high-quality summer learning and enrichment programs play a vital role in promoting social and emotional growth, educational recovery, and mitigating learning loss. And whereas during the summer months and school breaks, children can lose what they learn, and students who lose ground in one summer are more likely to also lose ground in subsequent summers, creating negative impacts for learners. And whereas parents can help prevent learning loss by reading with their children and encouraging them to read independently throughout school breaks. and public agencies, communities, and faith-based organizations, schools, libraries, museums, recreation centers, camps, and businesses in North Carolina contribute to the well-being of youth through summer programs and offer a trusted role in the education and well-being of our children. And whereas summer learning programs are proven to maintain and advance students' academic and social emotional growth, keep children safe and healthy during the summer, and send children back to school ready to learn. And whereas joyful summer learning experiences are a critical component of our collective effort to ensure all students grow, thrive, and are ready for school. And whereas North Carolina encourages all students, parents, caregivers, and people to champion summer learning to support academic achievement for every child in our state. And whereas the Johnston County Board of Commissioners encourages all students, parents, caregivers, and people to champion summer learning to support academic achievement for every student in our state. Now, therefore, the Johnston County Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim July 14th through the 18th, 2025 as Summer Learning Week in North Carolina, and do commend this observance to all of our residents. And I hereby put this in a proclamation for a motion.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 All right, any opposed, nay? All right, the motion carries. Thank you. And thank you for what you do for our children.
Thank you.
All right, next we have an update on what's happening at Recovery Alive, and Tisha Temple is here to present that to us. I had a feeling you'd bring some energy here.
It is so good to see everybody. Thank y'all for giving me an opportunity to be able to come and share. Hey, y'all. Transforming lives in Johnston County. Over the past 4 years, we have watched something extraordinary happen in Johnston County. Through the grace of God and the hard work of a community that believes in second chances, Recovery Alive, Inc. has grown from one safe, supportive 12-step Christ-centered recovery meeting into a life-giving movement that is changing our county from the inside out. We now operate 8 Recovery Alive homes. 4 of those homes are located here in Johnston County. Those 4 homes offer 25 beds and more than 8,000 safe nights of shelter and support. Growing Grace opened March the 1st, 2023, with 6 beds and has already provided over 4,400 safe nights. Pathway to Peace, which launched November 1st, 2023, has offered over 1,500 safe nights to men needing safety and structure. Harbor of Hope opened June 1st, 2024, and is on track to provide 2,000 nights of care over the coming year. And now we have opened Born Again, a veterans-focused home with 6 beds welcoming those who have served our country and now need support to fight for their own recovery. These are more than numbers. These are nights where lives are saved, chains are broken, and hope is restored. Thanks to the Fletcher Group Economic Calculator, which I made a copy for everyone, because I'm going to share a whole bunch of numbers, and then somebody's going to be like, how'd you come up with that? I didn't, they did. Thanks to the Fletcher Group Economic Calculator, we can confidently say that these homes have already saved Johnston County over $6.5 million in just 2 years. $300,000 plus in avoided criminal justice costs, $250,000 plus in reduced ER visits, $650,000 in avoided productivity losses, and $5 million plus in reduced premature deaths and long-term health complications. For every $1 that has been invested, we are returning $98 in value to this community. Every week, Recovery Alive, Inc. serves over 300 people through Christ-centered 12-step meetings right here in Johnston County. We offer support for every stage of life, from our Adventures Alive programs for newborns through age 5, all the way to our Young and Alive for middle schoolers. Our recovery-based groups create safe spaces for families where growth, healing, and healthy identities are being formed. And soon we will be opening the doors to our newest space in Smithfield. Our second office is opening where certified mental health coaches will offer direct services to those in need. That starts July 1st, and there's some pamphlets in case you know somebody who's going to need that, including individuals who are waiting for counselors or therapy appointments, or those that are stepping down from clinical care. It will be goal-oriented, growth-focused, and deeply relational. This is the care that meets people exactly where they are. And this is what makes me the happiest. The world is watching us. We have had the absolute joy of welcoming people from all over the country to Johnston County. Folks who stay in our hotels, grab coffee with us on Saturday mornings, eating in our restaurants, and sitting in our sessions, just to learn how what we are doing here in Johnston County works. One ministry that was birthed here in this county has grown into over 80 across the nation. And they're all pointing back to us and saying, we learned how to do this in Johnston County, North Carolina. Most recently, we were blessed to welcome Chris Appeal, County Attorney of Harnett County, and County Manager Coley Price, along with members of their team. They didn't just drop by, they showed up. They asked a lot of tough questions. And seriously, because of Chris and Coley, I know how it feels now to be asked the same 1,000 questions in 1,000 different ways to see if he was going to get the same answers. Because of their curiosity, it was a clear view that it was coming from a place of care and real interest. They truly had a desire to learn. They walked through our homes, they looked at our books, they sat with us in deep conversation, and they saw with their own eyes what transformation looks like in real time. After much consideration, the Harnett County Commissioners voted unanimously to fund the opening of an RA home and to provide a salary for a part-time peer support worker that will be driving from here in Johnston County to Harnett County to work with the women in that home. That home successfully opened on March the 8th, and it is beautiful. As a Johnston County resident, all of this makes my heart very happy. People from other counties and states aren't just curious, they are inspired by what is happening here in Johnston County. We are not a perfect organization, but we are a faithful one. We are committed to linking arms with churches, nonprofits, county leaders, and individual families to keep doing this life-changing work. So I'll close with this. If you have ever wondered what happens when a community says yes to healing, yes to redemption, and yes to recovery, you are looking at it. Our county is healthy. We are growing, we are thriving, and I'm proud to be a part of it. This is what it looks like when we build safe havens with support services. This is what it looks like when we give people the dignity of having a home, a meal, and a second chance. And this is just the beginning. We will be opening more homes, and people will be continuing to come here to Johnston County because we are doing it well. Not we, Recovery Alive, Johnston County. There's a lot of support services here, and it's growing, and it's working, and I'm thankful. I'm also going to leave some books. You guys might not need to know this, but somebody might need a safe house to stay in. All of our homes are full, by the way, at this very moment, except for the Veterans Home. So all 6 beds are currently open at the Veterans Home. So if you know someone who is in need, please direct them to us. Any questions, Scott?
Any questions for Tisha?
It's all been very helpful. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Morgan Harris here to discuss with us the proclamation for EMS Week. And we have Commissioner Harris who's going to read that proclamation. Oh. Okay, I just go by what's on here, so yeah.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman, Commissioners. Appreciate the opportunity to be here to recognize EMS Week. I'd also like to ask EMS Division Chief Ted Hardy to join me up here. As Chief Hardy's coming up, just want to say how proud we are of Chief Hardy and his team as they oversee EMS, all of our EMTs and paramedics and everything that makes up our EMS system. We're going to run over 34,000 calls this year. We continue to do good things out there, impacting lives. and just want to say how much we appreciate your support in doing that. And we would appreciate the proclamation for EMS Week.
Absolutely.
All right. Mr. Hardy, anything you'd like to add to that?
No, just want to echo Deputy Director Holloman's point. We truly appreciate the support that you all have given us over the years. The support that we have been given has allowed us to become the system that we are today. I'm very proud of all of our providers and the support and response that they provide to our community. So fully in support of this proclamation. They deserve it.
All right. Thank you. All right. Vice Chairman Harris.
All right. First, let me say how proud I am of the EMS system that you have built. I was around when it was in its infancy, and it is really something to see now. And the lives that are saved and the lives that are changed as a result of it is just unbelievable. And so I appreciate all the work that you and all the people out in the field do this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they answer the call for help, and we appreciate you. Proclamation for Emergency Medical Services Week, May 18th through the 24th, 2025. Whereas emergency medical services is a vital public service, and whereas members of the Emergency Medical Services team are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury. And whereas the emergency medical services system consists of emergency physicians, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, firefighters, educators, administrators, telecommunicators, and others. And whereas the members of emergency medical services teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishment of emergency medical services providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Johnston County does hereby proclaim May 18th through the 24th, 2025 as Emergency Medical Services Week in Johnston County in recognition of this event, adopted this 19th day of May of 2025. And Mr. Chairman, I gladly make that a motion to approve that proclamation.
I second.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second to approve the proclamation. Any comments?
I would like to make one, Mr. Chairman. The group had a ceremony yesterday to induct 4 members into their Hall of Fame. And listening to those, if we'll call them old-timers, talk about the environment they operated in, you really realize how far we've come.
Absolutely.
So I salute you, Chief Hardy, and Josh. You've come a long way, and it's really a top-notch organization now.
And if I could add one more thing, there was a little accident, well, an accident, I'll say, in Princeton last week. I was out of place, but I heard nothing but positive comments about how emergency services responded and took care of that situation with the school bus. Mm-hmm.
All right. Anyone else? All right. All those in favor of adopting the proclamation, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? All right. The proclamation is adopted. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you all.
All right. Mr. Holloman, you're not going far. I have you down for this one. All right.
Or Morgan.
The EMS, yeah.
I'll take it. Thank you, Mr.
Well, you got
Chairman.
better looking hair, so I would go with
right.
that. Although he's on his
Appreciate it.
way. He's on his
Appreciate
way. So. All right. So we have an EMS system franchise recommendation. So.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, I appreciate the opportunity. We have received and reviewed a franchise application from Midwest Medical Transport, doing business as North State Medical Transport. North State Medical Transport is already in our system, has been for several years. They were recently purchased by Midwest Medical Transport, which requires the new franchise. So we have reviewed this information. We've gone through the usual process. We've talked with another county in our state where Midwest Medical Transport already operates and received positive reviews. We've also talked to the North Carolina Office of EMS, who gave us positive reviews and assured us that they meet all the requirements with the agency license. And so we would request approval of this franchise. Meeting with the administration, They have informed us that we will not notice any changes with the exception of actual increase in resources for our local hospital system, so it should only be an improvement. Again, we do recommend approval of this, and Ms. Dotson with Midwest Medical Transport is here if you have any questions for her as well.
Okay. All right. Any questions for Mr. Holloman?
Perhaps this is an unfair question, but I have been through a few mergers myself. Any negative feedback from the existing personnel you've dealt with with North State?
No, sir. Their administration came and met with us, and it was all positive. They seemed to be excited about it. They said they were keeping the existing administration in place and essentially the branding as we know it. So,
Great.
Yeah, nothing negative that we're aware of.
Good.
All right. Any other questions? All right. And do we need to go ahead and take action?
Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
I move we approve the request.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor of approving granting franchise to Midwest Medical Transport, doing business as North State Medical Transport, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. And continuing on with the public safety aspect of our meeting, we have another gentleman with a white shirt and black tie on here, Ryan Parker, our Emergency Service Director, to present the fire study information, or some information on proceeding with the fire study.
Yes, thank you so much, and good evening. Thank you for having us tonight. Again, thank you for the proclamation for EMS Week. It's truly honoring, and thank you for your recognition of our staff. With me, I have Deputy Fire Marshal Jordan Piper. He has been a very integral portion of the data collection for the fire service in Johnston County. This is really the first time that I'm aware of that we've had a good picture of data for all the fire service in Johnston County, representing trucks, call volume, all the way down to number of people. We have many firefighters that are on multiple fire departments, and that can be duplicated. As you can tell, we're having such an influx of data right now. And why are we doing all this? It's for the future planning of the fire service of Johnston County. As you're well aware, there's going to be a huge amount of growth, and we're wanting to get in front of that with the proper placement of future fire stations within Johnston County. And so we're talking with Manager Hester. We requested in last year's budget to have some money allocated for a third-party fire station location study. And then with the help of County Attorney Ms. Jennifer Slusser, we prepared a request for proposals, and we received some back, some of those proposals. I was able to review those and interview the vendors. And then we had a cross-section of fire chiefs also participate in a second round of interviews. And with your approval, we would like to make a recommendation of Mosley Architecture to conduct a fire station location study within Johnston County. Happy to answer any questions y'all may have about the proposal by Mosley Architecture.
About how long, sorry.
Go ahead.
About how long is the study going to take?
Mosley Architecture says they should be done within 6 to 8 months and have deliverables available to the Board of Commissioners early 2026.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? Commissioner Stovall?
Has Mosley done this type of study before?
So Mosley has partnered with Matrix Consulting Group, and they have done studies in Phoenix, Arizona, Raleigh, North Carolina, and they did a county comparable to Johnston County within the state of Virginia.
All right, thank you.
Though that we did not request EMS to be included in the study based off of the matrix formula and how that they want to integrate within our fire departments, they recognize that we conduct medical responder programs, and they want to make sure that they map everywhere from first patient contact all the way to the transport. So they have offered to include our EMS stations to be studied also, not even requested by us.
Did that study, Ryan, include type of facilities, like size and just the type of, other than just location?
Not at this point. We wanted to make sure that we were looking at the general areas where those fire stations would need to be located. We are going to be looking at deployment analysis of which trucks go which directions and where those trucks need to be located. But for the purpose of this study, it would be looking at where fire stations need to be located. It does not include design of future stations.
I remember there was some discussion some years ago about the school system trying to save some money by duplicating designs over and over, for the same type product. And I would recommend that maybe the fire situation look at that also.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I think in some situations you can do that, and I think that's a great idea, Commissioner. But it's also going to depend on the part of the county and the apparatus locations, what has to be housed in that station. I wish we could say one size fits all, but I doubt it will be that way as you get into the more heavily populated areas and substations. It's just the variables. So
I agree. I just think a metal skin and brick facade in the front might be adequate instead of coin corners and arches and things like that.
I was just waiting for you to get that in there.
Save money where we can, folks.
Remember the architect told us metal is more expensive now than the other?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, you ready for a motion?
I am.
I'll move that we approve the Emergency Services Fire Station study to Mosley Architects.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you. All right, next up is the infrastructure portion of our meeting, and Chandra Farmer, our utility director, is here to present a couple things on a couple of projects and getting started on design.
Yes,
on
the
those.
first project we have is the Cleveland Water Supply Improvements Project. You may recall we talked about this one last month, and it was tabled until this month. After our last meeting, I met with Commissioner Stovall, Chairman Lauder, and Commissioner Rose, and talked through our capital improvements plan, talked more through some of these projects and the purpose behind those, and hopefully address most of those questions. So we're requesting to adopt the budget for the preliminary design phase of this project. In summary, this project will provide additional supply to our Cleveland area, our water districts, our retail water customers in that Cleveland area, the town of Clayton, and where we provide service to the town of Fuquay-Varina. So it's going to be an important project as we continue to grow and anticipate meeting these peak demands we're going to continue to experience. The preliminary design phase proposed project budget is $400,000. That gets us through our pipeline routing, which you may recall, this one has quite a bit of pipeline and improvements to our 1010 booster station. It will also include options on how we can upgrade that station with the preliminary engineering reporting on that, so we can make those decisions as we move forward in the future. The funding for the project would all be from our Water System Development Fees Fund. Any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Farmer? No, I just had a thank you for sitting with the three of us for 3 hours and answering all the questions we had and explain it on a level that we could all understand it. So thank you for that. I think that helped us come to, the decision that we're about to make on this. But again, thank you for your time on that.
Thank you.
One question. I know that the town of Clayton will be, you said, benefited from this. Could you give a breakdown of or how much does this benefit Clayton versus the Cleveland area?
So there's going to be a benefit. I would almost say equivalent benefit. It just depends on how we divide our service areas in the future. But there's certainly, again, town of Fuquay-Varina, this is where we provide our supply to them. We have a contract of 1.5 million gallons a day with them that we have to continue to ensure we're being, continuous with that supply and reliable with that supply. And the Cleveland Water District, I don't want to say Cleveland Water District because there's some portions of some other water districts we have there, but it's generally the Cleveland area. It's our 492 hydraulic gradient zone that we serve. And then, of course, the town of Clayton is part of that zone as well. So I don't have those percentages of how much additional, supplies anticipated in each of those areas, but it's equivalent, certainly beneficial to all.
Yeah, I think Clayton's, in my comments with some folks involved there, it was not so much how much water, but the fact that it doesn't have to come through Clayton to get to Cleveland. So there was a benefit they saw in that by itself, so.
Kind of separating the service areas a little better.
It will help with that.
Yep. All right, any other questions? All right, what are the wishes of the board?
Mr. Chairman,
Thank you. Thank you for ending the awkward silence there. Commissioner
I
Stovall.
move to appropriate funding for the Cleveland Water and Supply improvements from the Water System Development Fee Reserve Fund and approve the proposed capital project budget.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Was that an aye? Okay, all right. Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. All right, on to the next item, which King Road Booster Pump Station and pipeline improvements.
Okay, this is very similar to the Cleveland project in that we did discuss this one back in April as well. This is a project on our capital improvements plan to continue to be able to supply additional water from our 385 hydraulic zone up into our 492 hydraulic zone. This benefits multiple water districts and retail customers within our service areas. Not only does it provide additional supply for the future demands and continue to meet these instantaneous, these peak demands that we're seeing, but this one also will aid in water quality improvements in order to boost some water from our lower demand areas of the county into the higher demand areas of the county, keeping the water fresher and hopefully being able to shorten that residence time in our pipeline. We're requesting to adopt the project budget for this for the project design. These funds, $420,000, should go through the project construction, a preliminary design through construction, and again, we're proposing water system development fees for this project. Any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Farmer on this one? All right, what are the wishes of the board?
I make a motion to appropriate funding for the King Road Booster Pump Station and pipeline improvements from the Water System Development Fee Reserve Fund and approve the proposed capital project budget.
Second.
All right, any other discussion? I just had a quick, so this is the 4239?
Yes, King Road
Okay.
goes from Highway 39 up to Highway 42.
Okay.
We have
All
an
right.
existing station there.
All right, just wanted to clarify that, so, all right. Any other questions? All right, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
Thank you. While I'm here, I'll give you a real quick update on our stormwater ordinance revisions. I know we've had several questions on that. We are in our second round with our legal review on that. We anticipate being able to bring that to the board for a public hearing, either the mid-June or the July meeting, very likely the July meeting, because I would like to send this version back out to our stakeholders and let them see kind of what we are proposing before we actually come in here for the public hearing. One of the big things we've kind of nailed down where we've landed, and of course, public comment, as we go through that, it could change this. You may recall this ordinance will require much more stormwater attenuation, particularly for residential development in the future. And we were struggling on kind of where is it fair to put that limitation? Obviously, we don't want every 5-lot subdivision putting in a stormwater pond. So what we are proposing is subdivisions with less than 20 lots that can show there's no more than an 8% increase in peak flow from their development would be exempted from that attenuation requirement. And then less than 10,000 square feet of additional built-upon area for commercial development. So that's kind of a big change from when we presented to you before on the ordinance. We want to get that out there to our stakeholders, and that's our intent, is to move forward in that direction. So we'll probably get some feedback on it before we come back, but we would hopefully be able to have that public hearing here at the latest mid-July, and then we would look at an adoption where an effective date would be early fall.
All right. Yeah, thank you for that update. I know there are folks who are wanting to know where that is, so thank you for that update.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have Mr. Hester to present his version of the 25-26 budget.
Thank you, Chairman
So the
Long.
floor is yours.
Board members, I want to first say this presentation tonight, just to clarify for those that might be watching online, is that this is, managers are responsible for providing a proposed budget to the Board of Commissioners, and then the Board of Commissioners takes it from there and creates the final document. So this is the proposed budget, as Mr. Lawler said. Also, we will have this information online either tonight or first thing in the morning, the budget for anyone that wants to go to our website, and we will send out copies of this budget summary to the press tonight. So thank you again for having me tonight. The proposed budget is presented at $402 million with a 3-cent property tax rate reduction from 67 cents to 64 cents. And just as a reminder, for those that are listening, the board has, since the last reevaluation, dropped the tax rate 11 pennies. This budget, as Chairman Lauder mentioned earlier, reflects all of the priorities that the commissioners have. And please note there will likely be some adjustments that staff has. We have one tonight along the way, as many things are fluid. Formal appeals for tax reevaluation are ongoing, the formal appeal process. And actually, if someone is not satisfied with the formal appeals, they can go to the Property Tax Commission. So these will likely be going on through the budget process and likely beyond. For those reasons, you may want to consider a 2-year review of this budget until things crystallize. And to be totally transparent, at this proposed tax rate, revenues do greatly exceed expenditures. This is not to bank taxpayers' funds. There are large education-related capital projects that have been approved by the voters that have not been reflected yet in annual budgets. The board has talked several times about the Clayton High School project. That has not been formally approved for construction by the local government commission or the Board of Commissioners, but that design is in process and will be soon be talking to the local government commission as they approve all the borrowings for local governments. The board has also talked about county government campus, court-related facilities in North Carolina. Counties are responsible for court-related facilities. And planning for future debt service will be important for that. Maintaining the county's AAA bond rate, I think, is very important. The day-to-day operation of county government in one of the fastest growing counties in the southeastern part of this country is also important. And thanks to you, we've made a lot of strides in maintaining and recruiting employees to work for Johnston County. And thank you for that. The proposed general fund budget includes expenses for county government operations, debt service obligations, funding for our education partners, which is Johnston County Public Schools, Johnston Community College, and nonprofit funding. Now, debt service alone is up 14%, but debt service is really only about 8% of our total budget. But to share with you how important those bond ratings are, when the last $100 million was sold that the voters approved back in the 2022 bond referendum for school facilities, the winning bidder not only got provided the best opportunity in terms of funds and the lowest interest rate for the county to pay back that money, but also provided a $9 million premium, which can be used one time on our debt service. So for this coming budget season, we will have a one-time $9 million premium to go toward our debt service. And that's just one example of the advantages of having a strong bond rating, because Johnston County's paper is, folks are interested in it, and the number of bidders reflect that. For our education partners, we also enjoy a great working relationship with them, and this board has been great about building schools, community college projects. when many years ago, the county's primary responsibility for schools and community colleges was for capital projects, funding, that type thing. And now over time, there's been more supplemental current expense funding, and it's been needed. So in the recommendation that I have for Johnston County Public Schools is $107,120,000 for current expense and $3.5 million in capital outlay. I want to make a note about the capital outlay. There may be some things in their capital outlay budget that are more suited toward maintenance. So as you go through the budget process, it may be that you see that some of that needs to be shifted over to current expense. I want to thank Mr. Stovall for helping me talk through the differences, because it can be confusing and it can be some gray area. Johnston Community College recommended $7,750,000 in current expense, $1.2 million in capital outlay. And that's the same situation with capital outlay. Is it maintenance or capital outlay? I think we could, staff is here to help work through that in any way you'd like us to. We do have a number of proposed new positions with October 2025 start dates or beyond. Emergency services with 16, and I'll have to say that includes fire marshals and EMS services. There are 2 or 3 places we'd like to convert 12-hour EMS coverage to 24. And it takes so many people, as Mr. Harris mentioned earlier, it takes 4 people, I think, for one spot when you figure in the rotations. Social services in the proposal has 14 positions, but I talked to Ms. Dowdell today, and she said that she wanted to amend that to 12, so that would be amended, and we can amend your information for that. We have parks, greenways, and open space. The commissioners have done a great job partnering with Triangle Land Conservancy, and we've got a great team there, and I think we can take it to the next level. Public health, 3 positions, 911, 2, tax office, 2 positions. On the tax office, as we go to a 4-year revow, we're going to need a little help to keep that thing going, because we've gone from an 8-year cycle to 6, and now we're going to be on a 4-year. So public information, we have a position in there, and they do an outstanding job. And legal, we have 1, register of deeds 1, soil and water conservation 1, building inspections 1 position. In addition to those positions, once the new Wilson's Mills Fire Station opens over near Nova Nordis, we would ask for those positions to be considered at that time to run EMS out of that station. So, in the enterprise funds, we have 2 positions requested in public utilities. And in terms of fee adjustments that are recommended, we have public utilities. That is in the supporting documents of the budget. It's a fairly comprehensive list. You'll see that in the back of your budget. Solid waste, we have 1 to increase the yard wage from $20 a ton to $25 a ton, and have a minimum charge from 8 to 10 with effective date of August 1st, 2025. There are funds included in the budget for pay adjustments for employees, as well as the alternate year pay review that the board asked us to do half of the county each year. So, the countywide fire tax is now at 14 cents. And at the next board meeting, I think I'd be prepared to make a recommendation on that rate as well. As far as board meetings go, the commissioners have set a public hearing for Monday, June 2nd at 10 o'clock, and have discussed maybe Monday, June 9th at 6 o'clock, with a proposed adoption on Monday, June 16th at 6 o'clock. I'd like to thank so many people that have helped with this. Many are in this room, department heads, Chad McLam, Jocelyn Andrews, Jennifer Slusser, Dana Cuddington, Susie Reeves, so many people that have been a part of putting this proposed budget together. It's truly a team effort, and we are here to help you in any way, and I appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you, Rick. Any comments from the board?
I do.
All right.
I've got I've been around here the longest, I guess, and I've got the utmost respect for Mr. Hester. He's close to my heart when it comes to saving money. But, and maybe the fingers ought to be pointing to our board here in times past. For the last 6 years, we've lowered taxes, as you mentioned, lowered the rate.
Yes, sir.
The actual taxes went up, but the rate stayed the same for those of us who weren't buying or selling, or went down. And I'm wondering how that trajectory has changed, because with this proposal, we're talking about increasing the tax take by $84 million. And well, I take that back. That's with the rate of 67, not dropping it 3 or 4 cents. But I don't know why the trajectory has changed. In other words, if we saw fit to lower taxes rates because of the growth was taking care of that increased cost, then why all of a sudden have we got to raise it so high? It would seem to me that, well, we'll discuss that more down the road. It seemed like this rate ought to be in the 50-cent range because of that growth in the base. Just my 2 cents.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to say something about that. I think Mr. Godwin said the assumption was that the growth would be paying for the needs, but I think we're seeing that that is not really the case with residential growth. We have, in my opinion, imbalance in the growth in this county. Residential growth demands more back in public services than it brings in property taxes. You've got to have job-producing growth like industry, commercial, and farming. Yes, farming, which is still our largest economic driver in this county, in order to balance out your revenue and keep it in a positive tax flow. I asked Mr. Hester early on, and we were discussing about the proposed budget. There's at least, I think, 54 new positions proposed in here for county staff for next year. And I said, how does that compare with previous years? He said, it's fairly consistent. That's fairly indicative right there that the demand for services are continuing to go up because our population is going up. The public services that are demanded by new residents are there, whether it's be it in school, EMS, fire protection, demands on water and sewer, which right now are approaching, will exceed $1 billion to meet those needs. Those are the types of things that we're seeing that we have to deal with. So I know a lot of people are worried about will they be able to afford this tax rate come the end of the year. We don't know yet what the final may be. We have a recommendation in hand. We've got a lot of needs otherwise in the county that are going to have to be met. So there's going to have to be some thoughtful consideration given before we come to the final budget. And we need to be cognizant of the impact on people that have limited income, that live out in outlying districts where particularly the southeastern part of the county, where the amount of the tax increase or reevaluation impacted the worst. Those type of things we need to consider and balance, and it may ultimately end up having to force us in a position that some of these needs are going to have to be deferred or delayed for some period of time so we can continue to maintain our excellent bond rating. That's the key to the future there, is keeping that bond rating at AAA. A lot of tough decisions ahead, but I just wanted to get it out there that this growth begets these needs, and we need to be cognizant of that and adjust our growth policies so that we can move forward in a positive standpoint without getting our finances in a precarious state.
Any other comments?
I would just say a couple things. So last year, I think overall was about 376, and so we're at about 402 this year. So that shows about a 6.9% growth. Is that okay? All right. I think in today's time, that's probably a very modest growth rate in the size of your government, 6.9%, with the way costs are increasing. But I did want to just kind of comment on what Commissioner Stovall is talking about, and just let our constituents know that we will be making these decisions with remembering where the tax revenue comes from, and this is going to be a tough, difficult decision for all of us, because we're making decisions that affect everyone in the county, and unfortunately everyone's property didn't increase equally. So those that, like Commissioner Stovall said, that lived east of 95 and to the south end, you see a lot of people whose property increased 200, 300% in value. It's going to be very difficult, and there's not going to be any perfect way to do this, but I just want to remind everybody that those are things that we'll be considering when we're coming up with the tax rate.
All right, any other comments?
I just wanted to thank Manager Hester as well as the financial staff and the financial office. And it takes a lot to put this together. It takes a lot of numbers and all the department heads for being able to be, like I said, coming together, for having to figure out new positions and what is needed and being able to go forward. Like I said, it's a lot of decisions that we have to make as well. But I just really appreciate all the county departments as well as the county staff for being able to have this information with us in such an early, convenient time, to be able to have all the information at hand so we can make those best decisions. As Commissioner Rose stated, and Commissioner Stovall, we've got a lot of decisions to make, as well as making sure that whenever we're making these decisions for the tax rate this year, also trying to keep in mind the future of Johnston County and all the projects that are going to need to take place in the future. Because like I said, just something that we want to do isn't going to happen next year. It's going to be 5 and 10 years down the road. So trying to make sure that all the projects that are going to need to happen. So thank you for all the county staff.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. And I will tell you that our priority will be whatever information the commissioners need during this budget process, and we're here available for any individual meetings or small groups or whatever you need.
Mm-hmm. All right. Commissioner Harris, any comments?
Yeah, just, I mean, I agree with everything that's been said. There's, the manager's done a great job, as he has for the last 20-some years. Was this about the 27th budget or 26th?
I think that's right.
He always does a fantastic job, and the staff and Mr. McLam, and, you don't ask a question that they don't have an answer for you, and that's fantastic. Now, and I just want to caution everyone, this is the manager's proposal, and now, I just got my budget book tonight. I can't really comment in depth on it because I hadn't even looked at it yet, but now is when our work starts. And so we'll be working diligently to try to pare this thing down and get it to an affordable rate that the citizens can handle, but it's also a balancing act with providing the level of services that people want as well, with the additional EMS folks, and the DSS ones are partially funded by the state, I think state or federal, and so it's not 100% for those, but there's a lot of mathematics that go into picking and choosing what's to be done. And I think, we're at that point that we've just got to make some really tough decisions and have some very meaningful conversation on how do we proceed forward. There's a lot of needs on the table, and some of these needs have been put off for years. I mean, the DSS building, and, we've got a health department that's now, and these are things that, we got Medicaid expansion, and then, so now we can't see the number of patients that we need to see in the health department. So it's just part of being a growing state and a growing community, a growing county, and here we are. So, that's what the people elected us to do, is to make the tough choices, and we're going to do our very best to be mindful and, be in contact and listen to the people and listen to their concerns, and I'm hearing them already, and we're going to work hard to try to make it meet in the middle, and we'll keep moving for another day. And I appreciate everybody's indulgence in doing that. Thank you.
All right, and I'll just reiterate some of the things, the thanks to Rick and all the staff that's been behind this. I guess that was the easy part is over for the board. Now we've got to earn our keep over the next few weeks to take all this information, as you said, listen to our constituents. But thank you for your effort. I know we kind of get involved when we do our strategic planning sessions to kind of set some goals for that, and for you to be able to take that to staff, and they work with that and come back with what the manager puts into his proposal. And I do want to comment on the growth paying for itself, and I think historically what you see is there's some period of time where it may, and I don't know if we're here where that's breaking the other way.
Yes, it looks like a huge windfall coming in.
And so,
the bill comes due eventually.
Correct. So I think just one thing for the public to know, we talked, and I think, Rick, you may have an update on this, but we talked about cost of services and taking a look at that. And that is one of the reasons that we want to make sure we're aware of what's coming and making sure that growth is paying it for itself as we move forward, and not wake up one day and say, oh, man, I wish we'd have done something different. So I do, think the board is looking forward and trying to figure that out. And back to the tax rate, there are people on fixed incomes who, are going to, some may be potentially heavily impacted by this. So as we go through, I just want to make sure that the public understands that we are looking at that. Yes, we have a lot of needs, but at the same time, and I'll go back to Commissioner Tony Braswell, who was probably while I've been on this board, was the largest advocate for the taxpayer and making sure they keep their money. So I think that will be in my mind as we move forward, is how to make sure that we're presenting a tax rate that the people can afford. So with that, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Astor.
Thank you all.
And we are at the manager report and comments. So Rick, you don't go anywhere.
Is it okay if Mr. Morgan Harris with 911 does a brief?
Well, I called him earlier, so let's give him a shot. We're gonna get him.
And I'll get my notes together for the next.
Yeah, we're gonna give you a shot to speak tonight. Yeah.
Thank y'all. Just real quick, there's a grant possibility that I can acquire in the next coming fiscal year, the 26-27 fiscal year from the 911 board. And it's a complete match. We would have to upfront the money for Viper radio consulates. Basically, it's allowing interoperability with our radio system to the state system. So our equipment is from 2015, so obviously it's aged out, and I'd like to go ahead and replace it. And I'd like to be able to use the 911 funds to do that, but I have to apply for a grant to do that. So, and I'm seeking approval to apply for the grant. So.
All right. Thank you for that clarification. I was getting ready to ask that. So, do I hear a motion to approve them applying for the grant?
So moved.
Yeah, second.
Sure.
Making her sweat a little bit. Second.
Thank y'all very much.
All right, man. We're not done yet.
No, I'm not done. Yeah. I'm sure you have some more questions.
You might get a little more nervous here. All right. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
And I would say Commissioner Stevens has signed off for us, so no, don't wait for that. Any opposed? Nay. Motion carries. Free to celebrate now.
Yeah, I've got. I do want to introduce Tina Parker. She's been promoted to my operations manager. So if you need anything at 3 a.m, call Tina. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Congratulations. All right, Mr. Hester.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, board members, I want to just do a brief overview of some of the things that came out of the work session. And the first one is that cost of services. So part of that was for us to contact Dr. Dorfman. Ms. Slusser and I talked with him probably within 10 days, 14 days of the work session. Had a good conversation with him. I've also traded voicemails with a group called Urban 3 out of Asheville. And then another group, I haven't gotten a return call yet, but I'm sure I will, out of Elkin, North Carolina. So on the Urban 3, the Central Pines, COG, has talked with them about the possibility of doing sort of more of a regional approach to that, but have individual reports as well. I don't know if we really want to do that, or if we just want to focus
So can I?
Yes, sir.
So as past chair
Yes,
of the Central Pines Regional Council, I'd rather us go on our own. Now, we don't need. I think this is a fairly urgent. Some urgent information and report we need, and I don't want to get tied up in 6 other counties and
I just
or
want to make
towns
sure,
doing
yes,
that.
sir.
Yeah, I mean that's my opinion. I
Very
think we
good.
need to.
So what we should have some proposals for you in June to consider, to get started.
Okay.
Does that satisfy the board on that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Also, the UDO setting up those public meetings. I know that Mr. Newton's working on that with commissioners on. We've talked about spreading them out across the county. maybe six or seven meetings in the month of June. It may have to take a whole month of June because you got budget meetings, plus the planning board. Braxton will be involved with those too. So that is moving forward to complete that UDO by the end of the calendar year. Stormwater management, I think Ms. Farmer mentioned all that today, and she's also in the process of getting some position filled for that, as I know that came up in the work session. On the water, at the work session, water and sewer was a big topic, and should be, as any growing county has, especially. You know, I was thinking, we're probably one of the few counties in North Carolina with a water treatment plant and a wastewater treatment plant. I think it's very unusual. And, but anyway, next month, I know Mr. Solomon's coming to give what we have called the Solomon Report, which I think will address a lot of things. And he, along with Ms. Rainier and Ms. Farmer, have been meeting with our partners in other counties and cities as well to talk about some possibilities. So I think that report from him will be very helpful, and I've heard that he's had some very positive meetings with some of the partners. So
We hope that report lives up.
I know
named it.
we've already given him a name and everything.
We're counting on that, yeah.
That's right. So I don't know if y'all have anything to add to that. Okay, good. Just checking. The CIP, now the commissioners have given priority or shared the priority at the work session for the CIP capital improvements projects. And I think now we just would need to just attach the dollar figures with it as it works in with the budget and planning and the tax rate and those kind of things, so that we are very mindful of that. And on the asset management side, Mr. Clifton's here. He does a great job taking care of 20-plus county facilities, and I think he is in the process of working in the asset management plan now for county. Did I say that right? All right, thank you. One of the things on schools was a priority about talking to the schools about their maintenance plan needs and getting more information on that. I think we have received some of that information and will be more forthcoming, I believe, probably during this budget process. And another thing was to talk with the school folks about considering recurring versus non-recurring funding with a phased approach. So I think there's been some conversations about that.
And I do want to thank Commissioner Stovall for helping with that definition, because it seems a lot of times that was, well, what is capital versus what is maintenance and routine maintenance.
It was confusing there, yeah.
So I hope I think that will clarify for both our board and for the Board of Education. Yeah.
I sure appreciate it too. Workforce, develop county org chart by June 2025. I think we'll have phase one done with that by end of June, might be the end of June 2025. And then we're looking at some software that can really enhance that and keep it moving, because we've got people coming and going all the time. And one thing we'll have to talk about internally is how in-depth do we want to be. That's something we'll get feedback from the board about. Take social services, they've got 350 employees plus. You know, how, so you don't have to use a magnifying glass, you know, to see that. How do we do that? And we can work through some options and bring to you on that. So adding a planning position for a long-term perspective. I know that planning, I think Braxton has started interviewing for a planning, more of a long-range planning position now. The dashboard was talked about to give y'all instant information. And I think the software that the land use team is now working on to get implemented will be a major player with that. Transportation, that process is moving along with the Johnston County Transportation Plan, working in coordination with regional concepts with Campo. I think Mr. Chairman Lauder's on that, plays a big role on that board. Also working with our rail consultant, Scott Saylor, has been a part of that discussion. So, and there's been some community meetings planned for that. So that's just a brief overview, just to update y'all on what we've done. If you have any questions or any suggestions or anything you need to, that I need to know, or whatever but it's important that we stay on top of this.
Okay, and I know the coordination of our ordinance update, transportation plan, sewer policies, all that is, we're trying to tie that all together to get to the finish line at the same time. No small feat in doing that, but thanks for the efforts in trying to make that happen.
It's very impressive to go back and look at the notes from your work session to see the ground y'all covered. I mean, there's a lot of stuff there, and it's very important. Thank y'all.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, just a note on that, the planning and zoning, the UDO community meetings. I've already identified the one at District 5, the Ag Center Auditorium, that's June 9th. That's the same night as our budget hearing. So we'll have to make some adjustment. There's not mentioned Nebraska already.
Yeah, and I will say on that, thanks to our person with the communication strength to my far right over here, I think that was thought that we needed to be in more than one place and get this and make it available, provide an opportunity for as many citizens in the county as we can. So thanks to you, Commissioner Davis, for pointing that out. But I think it's as important as this is. I think that's something that we definitely need to do. Sure.
This is a little sidebar note, but Corinth Holders High School is playing for the Eastern Championship coming up, and I think the winner of that, 2 out of 3 advances to the state championship. So wish them the best.
Oh, all right. Is that first game Thursday? Yeah.
Very good.
All right. So Commissioner Rose, I'm going to start with you with board reports and comments.
I haven't really been doing anything, sir.
I was on a full presentation.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, that's
that was sarcasm. A couple weeks ago, I was able to go to Raleigh and speak before a Senate subcommittee in favor of Senate Bill 587 that did pass the Senate. Also, same day, went over to the House side and tried to get in on House Bill 765, which is a terrible bill, and we
well said.
and try to voice my opposition, but along with some others, we were filibustered out, and we didn't get a chance to have any public comment, but I think as our presence being there helped a little bit, and the bill has found a lot of opposition since then, and we're hoping it will die very good death soon. Yeah. But and then secondly, I was able to represent the county last week in Denmark. I was on the North Carolina. Let's see, what was the call? We were there for energy transition. North Carolina Delegation for Energy Transition was the official name. And we had 12 delegates that ranged from elected officials to a couple of DEQ officials. We had Donna White's research assistant was there, and we had a Duke professor, NC State professor, North Carolina Chamber was represented. A lot of good representation. But we had several days of touring Denmark's industry and seeing how they work together and how they try to reuse what typically may be thrown away by a lot of industry, and they will locate physically near one another so that they can share each other's waste products. They may share wastewater where instead of dumping it back into the river or through a sewer system, one company may have wastewater that can be used for cooling for another company, and then it can be used for a second or third process, and then the heat that is generated from all the companies may be captured and sent around for district heating for the homes, and then they incinerate their garbage and produce energy and electricity and heat for homes from the garbage, And so it was a very interesting tour. We got to see a lot of how they do things. And I was very honored to be able to represent the county, and I look forward to typing up a little synopsis and sending it to everyone of what all we learned.
All right, thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Vice Chairman Harris?
Who wants to go after him? He's been a week in Denmark. What am I going to say after that? I went to Princeton to the Firemen's Association meeting.
Yeah.
No, I'm just joking. That was
I was at it too.
that's right.
Now you got to one up it again.
Yeah, I know. I just can't win here. No, I appreciate everybody's work. There's, I'll go back to this budget just briefly. I know this started probably in December and January to get these numbers together, and we're getting ready to get into it big time, and so there's a lot of moving parts. But I'm just really proud of the county staff and employees and all the people that put all this stuff together. I can't stress the fact that every single day there's people out there that are making a difference, and it's so inspiring to me to go around to the different departments and go to different meetings and listen to the people who are doing it, whether it's the public safety people, the sheriff's folks, DSS people, health department. They're all touching lives, and they're doing big stuff for the citizens of this county. And it's really interesting and rewarding to see that. So I'm very thankful for that. And as we work through this budget process, I know we'll come up with a budget that everybody can be proud of and we can live with, and get the job done of serving the people, which is what we're all here for. Thank you.
There's a reason the county employees are on our
Absolutely.
6
They deserve
priorities.
to be.
So. All right. Commissioner Godwin?
Yeah, I alluded to this earlier, but I attended the ceremony yesterday where the EMS people inducted 4 members into their Hall of Fame. Mr. Purcell Holland, the late Mr. Purcell Holland from Micra, Mr. and Ms. Baker, a husband-wife team who served in Smithfield and in Four Oaks, and Dr. Edwin Hartman, who retired in January, and he had to attend by video conference, but those 4 people were inducted into that, and it was interesting, especially the folks that talked about how life used to be. And it was interesting to see how far the service has come. And one of the other things I wanted to mention, I hate the development, the late Jesse Helms, they called him Senator No, and I don't want to be Commissioner No, but I guess maybe it comes with old age. There's some groups around the state that we've heard of, local political bodies taking resolutions against national positions. You think, why are they doing that? Like a resolution against the Congress or something that's going on. It's just to make a statement. And I don't want to do anything like that. But I've been to a lot of ceremonies lately, school presentation, that type of thing. And with the immigration system, we've had breakdown in it in recent years. You worry about the culture, our country's culture. We're going to have a memorial service Monday for Memorial Day. It'll be here at the courthouse, and I invite all the citizens to be at 11 o'clock. But what do those soldiers die for? Over all the years, the hundreds of years now, this country's been in a country, and I worry that we're not fostering our culture and keeping it. We're not, what's the word I'm looking for? Inculcating our culture into immigrants and new folks coming in our country. They're not assimilating. That's the word I'm looking for. And when I see these dedicated teachers who spend time with these young people shaping lives, I just hope they keep that in mind, that we need to protect America and assimilate new folks to be Americans. Not hyphenated Americans, but Americans. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Stovall?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Following on the thread Mr. Godwin brought up, we've got a broken immigration system, but things are being done now to fix that. But I have been monitoring some of the information about what has occurred in recent years, and it's very alarming to me that we know now that and since 2017 has been 2019 has been over 30,000 known Chinese nationals who's entered our southern border illegally that are military age. And the majority of those, over 24,000, came in this past year, which raises the question about why now and what is their purpose. some more information came out. I got a copy of a security bulletin from the federal government that said that they have recently discovered that there are communication devices embedded in solar panels manufactured in China, who is the primary supplier of these panels to the United States, that actually has the ability to be controlled remotely, that can be shut off at will. It's a cellular type device that's been discovered in these solar panels. Now, I know solar panels will get to be ubiquitous, but the Chinese have really capitalized on that. They've also, 2 years ago, they found out that we've got similar type of software embedded in switchgear that's coming from China. And most of the security threats that I've read about say that if we have a foreign enemy who means to do us harm, the quickest way they're going to do that is take down our energy grid. And as long as we keep allowing practices that allows them to have access to our critical infrastructure, then we're increasing the odds of that happening. And I'm not a big fan of solar panels or windmills, particularly because they take up valuable farmland that it'd be better served to produce food rather than put them out there. But it's very attractive to farmers who are trying to make it in a difficult economic climate. You know, you can make in 1 year what it will take you 5, 6, 7, 8 years to make off that land with rent for a solar farm. But in doing so, we might be aiding and abetting the demise of our own country when we do that. So I'd ask folks to think very carefully if you get approached about putting a solar farm to make sure it's fully vetted. There's also a lot of environmental issues with these panels too. When they start to break down, they deposit heavy metals into your soil and you end up with an environmental cleanup site because that has to be cleaned up by somebody. And that's something we don't want. Windmills are killing birds. So they go out there, you pick up birds by the thousands that have been struck by these windmills. And if you look at the cost to build one of these windmills and maintain it, it has a net negative return on the investment as it stands right now. So be careful that these green energy proposals are not all they're cracked up to be. They need to be studied very carefully, and there needs to be technical analysis done to verify they truly do contribute to protecting the environment.
I think Commissioner Rowe's report may have some thoughts on that when we get it.
I would be just sharing what others do.
Boy, this side's been rainbows and
unicorns.
Thank you for indulging me with that long soliloquy.
Depressing.
Well said, Jill.
I just had a few things. 2 weeks ago was when the litter trap was installed in Clayton. Myself and then Commissioner Rose, as well as Commissioner Stovall were there, and so it was really great to see all of us, as well as the town of Clayton, for putting that together, of having the first litter trap installed in the county. And then also just I was having a conversation with a constituent last week, and their child was graduating high school this year, and it was actually two different parents, and both of them are going to JCC this year instead of a four-year university because of the commissioner's promise. And so they just still very much echoed the appreciation that we have with the commissioner's promise of being able to have that tuition paid for and being able to save both of their families some money, and then also being able to keep them at home a couple more years before going to the 4-year. But just again echoing how we're really touching lives by that program in the county. That's all I got.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and I've probably often been an embarrassment to my family. But when we go somewhere and there's somebody that looks like they recently graduated and they're particularly in the health care industry, I'm like, where did you go to school? And then a lot of them are JCC, and so the opportunity is like, did you take advantage of the commissioner's promise? And now it is, yes, we did. I'm so thankful for it. So you're right. That is good to get that
There was
feedback.
two different seniors in high school that have graduated and are staying here in the county and getting their first step of their degree in their continuing education because of the commissioner's promise. So really neat.
So I had 5 things tonight. The first two involve public safety on a little bit of a lighter note, but it also involves JCC. 2 Saturdays ago, there was a junior firefighters competition. We had teams from Cleveland Corinth Holders and Wilson's Mills from within the county. And then we had teams from Alamance County, Lenoir County, Rowan County, and I think we got some pictures up, on the board there. Thank you for that, Adam. And then also Wake County were there. They had the team from North Lenore won the competition, but the future is bright for the firefighting in our communities. It's amazing. There's probably 50 kids total there with the 7 teams, 40 to 50. You see that, and that was not a cool day to be out there dressed out and doing the drills. But I do want to say thank you to JCC for hosting, and thank you for all the fire departments who went together to brought in judges and set up courses and did all that. It was a great experience. I was tired watching them, but particularly when they go in that 3-story tower, and they had one team that had to go up, pull up a weight, a dummy, and then run back down with a dummy, and that was, there were a couple that had to stop along the way, but that was a great competition to see, and North Lenore won the competition, and there you see the picture there. I will say it's interesting, the industry, I think the top prize was $2,500, but the unique thing about that was there was 5 sets of turnout gear that one of the sponsors provided to the winning team, and that was and that was a surprise. So all I know is I have been promised that next year will be even bigger and better. So thanks to everyone who was involved in that. The other, on a little bit lighter note, there was a softball tournament this weekend. I wish I could report nobody was injured. There's injuries, there's soreness. There are people realizing that they're not the athletes they were 10, 20, 30 years ago. But they had teams from Clayton, Cleveland, Corinth Holders, Northside, Selma, and Garner. And Selma was the victorious team and took home no cash prize, but a trophy for that, and a lot of bragging rights for
These are fire departments?
Fire departments, yes, for the county. So thanks to all those who participated in that. The third thing I want to talk about was the infrastructure. We have had a series of conversations, and it primarily Commissioner Stovall, Rose, and myself meeting with some different towns and Harnett County to discuss, the potential for regionalization there and some opportunities they have, and we'll have some more of those coming up in the short term. So just to continue to look at that regionalization, and I know from our strategic planning session that was something we had mentioned. And I did want to thank Chandra again for spending probably 3 times as much time as she thought she was going to spend with us, but answering the questions. And I will thank Kim in her absence, because I know she would have been there answering the questions too. I think she was off at a design build conference learning how to do things that are coming down the path. So thank you again, Chandra, for spending that time with us and helping us understand. With that said, something we have talked about, for the board has talked about off and on, and would like to see staff, if the board is okay with this, but we have a policy that within our municipal transition districts, that if an entity was in that, help me if I get this wrong, but water and sewer are to be provided if there's an annexation within that. And with all the things we have going on with right now water, but with sewer, I would like to see if our staff could take a look at options to, let's just say, hit the pause button on that and see, who's impacted if we were to do something like that. Are the impact to us, financially in our utility department, but also look at the, what towns are impacted. But I think that's something that we probably need to get a little better control on before we go continue to have growth in areas that we may not want to have that. So if that's okay with the board, and we'll direct staff to take a look at that and report back to us. I know we got a lot going on over the next few weeks, but if you could do that, that would be appreciated. And that is all I have for this evening. So, did I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.